something that isn't really organizing and decluttering, but also seriously affects the ability to do anything as a mom or working or just getting you through the day is the foods we eat and what we feed our families. And so I wanted to share with you some of my suggestions based on a couple of questions that I had from some listeners. And I wanted to just jump in here and give you guys some ideas and some of the tips and things that I have tried very hard to do. I'm definitely not doing this consistently. I definitely have so much room for improvement in this area. But these are some things I have that I do for my family that really help to make sure that we're eating better foods and that we're not having to eat out because of lack of planning. Scheduled eating out, that's fine. But eating out on a many days a week situation, it's just not the best. It's expensive. And especially when you have a larger family like I do with 6 people, that's expensive. Like, that is a lot of money to be spending. And I really shouldn't be spending that much money on foods and stuff. So that will break the budget. That will eat up all of your savings so fast. So here are some of my suggestions and the ways that I have been able to create meals and foods to have at the house when I'm working, and what I eat and how I keep foods at the house to be as nutritious and healthy as possible. All right, listen in. Here we go.
Hi, welcome to a Simplified and Fabulous Mom Life podcast. I'm Jennifer McDaniel, pro organizer, capsule wardrobe stylist, and functional home designer. As a mom of 4, I realize how quickly things get out of control and how important it is to prioritize how your home functions and how it makes you feel. So if you're ready to find solutions to the stressors in your home and make room for the things that are really important, listen in and let's get started.
Okay, so number one thing, like the biggest meal of the day, when all your family's home at the end of the day, is dinner. That's the number one meal that people will forget to plan for, or something goes wrong, or time got away from you and you're stuck at the end of the day with a mess and you're just trying to throw something together because you didn't plan it out. And that is the one meal that ends up being so much more expensive if you go to eat out. If you decide to go with fast food or whatever your choice is, that is the one meal that I would suggest starting with just making sure that you have something to eat at home for one meal a day. Okay. If you're really struggling to feed your family, number one thing, like just to make to afford feeding your family, but to make sure that there is food there available. The number one thing that I would suggest is to do do a big hearty portion of food. I love to do a roast in the crock pot, or even some carnitas or chicken in the crock pot. There are so many things that you can do and then repurpose them. So for my family, we do a roast. I just do the meat in there with some seasoning, and then I repurpose it all through the week. We will end up making so many different meals. I will use it on top of mashed potatoes, mix the ground beef, put it on some sandwiches, not ground beef, but the pulled shredded beef, the roast meat. I'll put it on some rolls, eat it on sandwiches, create a taco with some slaw on top of it. Do it as the roll, like with the bread roll or a hamburger bun kind of thing. And then put the slaw on top of that and give you just be really creative with what you're doing with it. I'll make it into nachos or tacos or quesadillas even. You just think about how you can do it. I love to cook up with, to use that with some sauteed onions and peppers and other vegetables, just whatever vegetables I can find, or even oven roasted vegetables, put that with it. I made some really fun nachos. I had a lot of extra meat. I think it was beef. I think so. And I had some turkey and some different meats that I had left over around the holidays. Between Thanksgiving and Christmas, I had different meats left over. And I did a huge pan of roasted vegetables, and I just used whatever vegetables I had. There was sweet potatoes, peppers, onions, garlic, carrots. I don't even know what, it was just a random hodgepodge of whatever vegetables I had. I think I had Brussels sprouts in there as well, maybe some broccoli, like all kinds of vegetables. And there were so many colors in it. And I just did a one pan. You just coat it with olive oil a little bit, a little salt, pepper. You can do garlic, onion, garlic powder, onion powder, paprika, whatever seasoning that suits your preferences. Any of them. And throw all of that on a pan and bake it until you feel like it's done. Some people like it a little bit more done than others. And for my family, I like it. I know I'm going to be reheating it and reusing it, so I don't want it to be too cooked. But I also do love when it crisps up just a little bit on the bottom of the pan. I love that. That part just has so much flavor, and I really enjoy eating that part of it. So I took that sheet pan of vegetables, like roasted vegetables. I just put in the oven at like 350 for, 25, 30 minutes, maybe 45 minutes, depending on which oven I use. We have a tiny oven, and then we have a bigger oven, and one of them cooks a lot faster. So I don't remember which oven I used, but I used my big sheet pan that I got from Costco and just cooked up all those vegetables on there at the same time. And then I repurposed that stuff and made it into nachos. I didn't even put any beans or anything. I just did the meat and the vegetables and some cheese on top. And then a little bit of maybe some avocado, or maybe we made some guacamole. I mean, I changed it up and I re-ate that so many times that I don't even remember the original purpose or creation that I made. But my sister-in-law, or my sister, maybe both of them, mentioned to me over the weekend that they really enjoyed having that when they were there. And I was like, really? It was so random. Like, I literally was just trying to throw something together that I would feel like I could eat because there was so much going on. We moved. It was chaos. There were a lot of people there. And I'm just like, look, I need some food. I need something that I'm going to want to eat that I can eat without making a big mess. Nachos for the win. Okay. So it was just nachos and all the things. But I've also done that with rice or quinoa and brown rice, and sometimes with just a pile of vegetables. You can even put that on top of a salad. Like, there's so many ways to reuse that and repurpose it. I've put it on top of a sweet potato. I did the ground beef. You put that in with a potato and some vegetables, and it's delicious for a lunch. Like, there's so many different ways. I even did that with some eggs and some, what did I put it with it? Like eggs, and then I did like an omelet, and then I had that beside it. I just repurpose it so many ways. And I've been doing this for so long that I don't even think about it. So I just cook up any kind of meat, and I do a large, huge portion. I want it to be a minimum of 3 meals for most of my family. I want to be able to reuse that for my lunches, for at least 2 full dinners, plus my lunches and maybe a couple of snacks. Sometimes I have a lunch type meal for breakfast before I go and work with a client. I want something that's going to sustain my energy. Like, I will feel energized and not give out before the session is done. So as a mom, my schedule is pretty busy. I'm up by 6 o'clock in the morning most days. I'm going. When I have work sessions, my schedule is from 10 to 2, so it's a 4-hour session most of the time. A lot of times I'm in the car from about 7:30 in the morning. We usually don't leave the house before 7:30. We should. We don't. Until 8:30, I'm still in the car. And then if I have a client, I'm in the car until 9:30, or I'm in the car for another 30, 45 minutes or an hour and a half sometimes, depending on where my client is located and what I have to do to get there. If I have to drop kids off at a different place, sometimes I just spend so much time in the car. So I have to eat something that's going to hold me over. And then after I leave my client's house, I have another hour plus, sometimes 2 hours that I'm in the car after working a session. So I have to have some substantial food to make sure that I make it until I get home. And when I get home, I'm instantly starting dinner. If I have not already got something going in the crock pot for dinner, I am cooking as soon as we walk in the door. Like, I take off my purse, my hat, my coat, whatever, shoes, and I'm in the kitchen cooking right after they get home from school. So we're talking 3:30, 4 o'clock. I'm in the kitchen cooking. Like, I am. I've got their snack going, and as they're eating their snack, I am making dinner. Like, I'm getting that going. And that has worked really, really well. But the number one thing, cook yourself up, whatever it is. If you're going to be making rice for multiple meals, if you're going to be doing a big piece of meat or meat that you can reuse, if I'm cooking ground beef or, something like that I can cook, separate it, put it in a freezer bag, and then you can easily, like, once it's cooked, put it in the freezer. Like, cook it, separate it, put in the freezer, save that for a night that it's going to be really busy and you don't have time to do the thawing and the prepping. It's already cooked, so all you have to do is heat it up. Put that in the oven for 20 minutes or in the, whatever, so that you can get going and go do something else. Get your kids ready for bed. Get their homework done. Sometimes my kids get ready for bed before dinner. They will go get their bath, their pajamas, and all of that before we eat our dinner. Because they get a snack when they come home. So they're full. They're not starving, but they're definitely ready for dinner. So just depending on our schedule. But what I want you guys to think about is, if you are struggling to even just get food on the table some nights, that just doing that, and your husband ends up bringing food home because you didn't get anything cooked, and he's coming home from work starving because he skipped his lunch or whatever. He works a very physically demanding job, and he needs some food when he gets home. He's starving. He doesn't have time to wait. He needs food. He doesn't want to wait another hour after he gets home for you to have dinner ready. If that's where you're staying, so he'll just pick up some dinner and bring it home. So that means that you're eating fast food or, restaurant food multiple days a week rather than home cooked food. This will help you simplify that and minimize the amount of times that you're eating out because you have something available. So you're not needing to go grab a lunch because you can heat something up. A lot of times I'll heat it up and then I'll eat it in the car while I'm driving. I'll just put stuff in a cup or whatever. You can even take that ground beef or whatever it is, not ground beef, but the roast beef, and you can make a soup or something with that later in the week and just change up all the different things that you're making so that it has something different. Just make a stir fry with it, slice it up a little differently and make it into a stir fry. I do that with the chicken. When I'm cooking chicken, I'll make so many different things and just get creative with it, with what you're making, but using the same main ingredients. So your meats, your, some of the same vegetables, but change up your flavors and just keep it really simple what you have to have on hand. So this week we're doing a big pork roast because it was really inexpensive. And so I've got several different meals planned for that. And I've got that in the crock pot for today, and it's going to be easy. Like, that to me is just easy. My husband really loves it, so he'll eat that several meals and not feel bad. And it just, the way we change it up so many times makes it that much easier to cook and to prevent us having to go out to eat. So the other thing that I had a question about I had someone questioning was how to make sure that their young child, so they have a toddler, that she feels like she's just eating the same things over and over again. So one of the things that I want you to think about is, are you feeding them a rainbow of colors? So each of the different color food groups have different vitamins and minerals and things that our body needs, different nutrients in each color. And it is important for us to eat the different colors, especially those dark leafy greens. Those are so important for bodies, like so many different aspects of our bodies. If you would just start adding that in, some of the ways that I add that in without upsetting my kids, we make smoothies, throw that in there, hide it in your ground beef. If you're cooking meat, you can just shred that up super tiny. And I do frozen spinach and kale. It crumbles up really nicely. They can't tell it's there. Frozen spinach, frozen kale, mix that in with whatever you're cooking. I even have put that in breads. When I've made bread in the bread machine, I will add in all kinds of nutrients that way. Chia seeds, flax seeds, all the different things that I can put in there and disguise it. We also have been doing that sheet pan. And one of the other things we do is a big, huge pan of roasted vegetables with lots of salt and seasoning on them, like not overly salted, but a generous portion of salt. You want them to be enjoying the flavors of it, and salt brings out the flavors. That's why God wants us to be the salt of the earth, to bring out the goodness, to bring out those good flavors of what's around us. Okay. So add a little bit of salt on there. Don't be shy, and really enjoy crisping those vegetables. When I do the broccoli like that, I cut fresh broccoli and I just chop it up really, so it's kind of flat. And I want it to stick to the pan at the bottom almost. Like I want it to be crisping at the bottom. Whatever part is touching the pan, I want it to have a good crisp brownness on it. And it is so yummy. But just that olive oil, salt, pepper. If you wanted to do some other seasonings, you can, but really just salt and pepper is enough. It's enough to be enjoyable. So many different seasonings you can use though. Have fun, experiment, be creative, give it some different flavors, use different vegetables. There's so many different things. Kale chips, that's another one that's delicious. You just put those in the oven. The same thing, you just you want to massage them so they're tender, and then coat them in salt, the olive oil, salt, pepper, and some seasonings, and they are delicious. Delicious. I think we usually cook them about not 45 minutes. Oh my goodness. About 25 minutes on 350 for a big pan of them. And that just play around with it though. Have some fun with how do you prefer them a little bit more tender? Do you want them to be a little bit more crisp? Or do you want to wait till they start to get really crispy at the bottom? That needs a little bit more time. So I just play around with them. It depends on how thick you cut your broccoli, how layered they are. Makes a big difference. But my kids don't even let those get to the table. I hardly ever get to put that on their plate because they've already eaten it off the pan. It's like cookies. They just come in and grab it on their way through, and they're just eating it up, and they love it. So that part for me is just really one of the best ways that I've been able to get my kids and my family to eat more vegetables, especially those dark green ones that are so important. The fruits and stuff, the colors that we like to eat. So add those carrots to different things. You can shred them and hide them in spaghetti sauce. The reds you can do. Beets are so nutritious. There's so many different ways you can use beets as well. I've done them raw in a smoothie. Like, my kids love that they turn everything pink. We just really play around, be creative, and find some different ways. There's a million recipes that you can look up, but I prefer to just keep it really easy. And there's so many different ways you can make stir fry. My kids love the stir fry, and I'd use the coconut aminos. That gives it such a yummy flavor. And then that with the vegetables and some chicken or whatever meat you want, or just vegetables if you're a vegetarian. Wow, it's delicious. And just cook that up and put it with some rice or some quinoa. I try to mix in some quinoa with the rice pretty much anytime I'm making it, just to give more protein. My son has ADHD, so high protein is really important, and keeping the meals clean and less preservatives is really important as well. For my personal health, I just feel better. And then one of the other things that I've done is made sure that we had some easy meal options for the days that I'm not making it home to cook, something that the kids can cook themselves. So we have a couple of those easy night options. Maybe it's chicken nuggets. Maybe it's, frozen chicken nuggets. Maybe it's some pot pies that are in there. I don't often get those because they are more expensive. However, sometimes just eating something at home is just the better way to go. Maybe you want to do some canned or some boxed soups or some frozen pizza, something that's going to have, that you can use as a meal for your family. Sometimes we just do like some all beef hot dogs. I love the Hebrews National hot dogs. Those are my favorites. And some tater tots or French fries or something, and just do something easy. I try not to do that very often, but when life is really busy, that's better than eating out. That's better than going to a fast food place, honestly. So I try to keep a couple of things available for those busy seasons of life, those busy days that just get away from us, and maybe we don't get dinner started as early as we planned. But those are things that I try to have available, just something that I can do to make it an easy night. And the other thing that I use for an easy night is nachos. I go there all the time. Whatever meat I can find, whatever vegetables I can find, the tortilla chips or the cassava flour chips, those are so yummy. Put that on there. Add your vegetables and your meat and your seasoning and put some cheese on top, and it is just so yummy. And my kids all love it. Every single one of my kids love it. My husband's happy with nachos. Like, it doesn't disappoint anyone. So we do taco night and nachos and things like that almost every week. They're just so yummy for us. So just trying to think through some easy options. Give your kids some variety with the vegetables. If you feel like they're not getting enough, you can turn your smoothies, make a delicious smoothie and turn it into a popsicle. What kid is going to say no to a popsicle? Come on. If it's a texture thing, add some more water, blend it up a little more, and it makes it a little bit more disguised, okay? You can even make homemade pudding, like it tastes like chocolate pudding with just a mashed avocado and some chocolate and maybe a drizzle of honey or agave nectar. That tastes like pudding. If you can smash it up small enough and like get it to the right texture, that avocado, if it is actually ripe, you won't taste the avocado flavor, and it's so nutritious. Get that. That is so good. And you can even make it as a popsicle for little ones, especially when you have teething little ones. Oh, there's so many different ways that you can do things like that and make healthy options for your family that are easy. I try when I'm doing my best, like we just moved. I have not been doing my best. I will just be really honest. We just moved. I have not done my best with cooking and taking care of my family throughout the week. We've done a lot of mac and cheese meals. Hot dogs have been a thing and just trying to keep it easy. But we also have done a lot of like the smoothies and things like that. I try to make the smoothies. I try to give them lots of fruit options to eat in the freezer. So we do frozen fruit as much as we do fresh fruit. My kids will walk around with a cup, like not walk around because that's not the way we eat, but they will get a cup, like a drinking glass, and they will fill it up with frozen blueberries, and they will just eat it until they are just turned completely purple, like what is that one on the Willy Wonka show where the girl just turns into a blueberry and she's just completely purple, like their lips, their teeth, their mouth, their fingers, if they've touched it. That's why I'm doing the glasses, because they were doing a bowl and they were just reaching in and grabbing it like popcorn or something, and they're just covered in it and stained. So I'm trying to do the cup so that they will just drink it and, pour it into their mouth instead of grabbing it and having purple fingers and stained clothing. But that's something that they do often and they love it, and it's really nutritious. There's so many antioxidants, and I really do feel like that is one of the biggest ways that we have prevented getting sick over the last few seasons. Like, we eat so much fruit and we do eat a lot of vegetables, and that, I feel like those antioxidants have really been helpful in the fruits. Like, we go through blueberries like crazy. I usually buy a minimum of 2 of the 48-ounce bags at a time. A minimum of that. And then there's other fruits and things that we have at the house all the time. Apples, oranges, bananas, and we have kiwi right now, and pears, and just change it up. Whatever is in season is great. And try so many different things. Try different things. Change up what you're eating. Add just one thing. By just making sure you're consistent in one thing 2 days a week, like making dinner 2 days a week, you're improving how many times you're going out to eat. Like, if you're going out to eat 3, 4, 5 times a week and then doing a freezer meal the other days, like, maybe just make Sunday lunch your thing, or one night of the week where everybody gets together and has a really delicious meal, and then you just live on those leftovers for the next couple of days. I love doing a big pot of chili or something I can just put back in the oven if I do spaghetti or something like that. We can do baked spaghetti. I can turn it into lasagna as well. Like, there's so many different ways. And if you're doing lasagna, those lentil noodles are so good. And you cannot even tell. I served lentil noodle lasagna, which is so much protein. I made that for, I don't even remember who all came to eat it. There were several people that would not ever, they would have complained about the texture. They would have made a comment if it didn't feel like the right texture or something was different. They would have questioned, what kind of noodles did you use in that? What was that? And it was the lentil noodles, the texture, the flavoring was good. It didn't stand out in place. It didn't feel like it was the wrong noodles. My husband hated it when I did the, well, he didn't hate it, but he definitely preferred regular noodles to the zucchini noodles that I did in a lasagna. And then also for spaghetti, he does not like the spaghetti squash or any of that stuff. So he likes his one type of noodles for the spaghetti stuff. So I try and disguise the other noodles as much as I can. And I even have taken those lentil lasagna noodles and broken them up into like a chicken soup. So it had the big chunky noodles in it. And that worked really well. That was good too. Just to give you some more protein, some more nutritious options, and to give your kids and your family a little bit more nutrition. And then also, don't forget your parsley and your herbs. I add those herbs and different, like parsley, basil, oregano, like all kinds of things in so many dishes and soups. And when we forget those herbs are so rich in nutrients for us, and we forget to use them. So it's easy for us to forget. So I will even sprinkle that stuff on my nachos, and don't forget to garnish with it. Grab yourself a super cheap bunch of herbs when you go to the store. Even just if you want to just start with parsley or whatever it is. Rosemary. I love rosemary. My dad hates it, so I tried not to cook that when he's coming, but I love rosemary. It smells so delicious. And rosemary potatoes, rosemary roasted potatoes. Oh my goodness, I can't get enough. So anyways, I hope that you guys have gotten some good ideas here. And if you do have a little one, just give them a few pieces, like get the frozen vegetables out and just thaw them or lightly steam them and put those in an ice cube tray and just let them pick all the different colors of vegetables and fruits and different things in their plate. Like, have so many different options. Or even just keeping them in just little portions. We did the like the sauce cups, like the sauce dipper cups that you would get at a restaurant when they bring a sauce out. My sister got me some of those for Christmas a couple years ago, and I've been using those for different things. So that size little dipping cup would work so good for toddlers, like to have their little snackies in there, or just different types of smaller pieces of food that they can learn to eat all the different rainbows of colors. And I hope you guys enjoyed this. I am so I'm so excited to get through this next season of my life and really get my full house, my new house, all organized and ready. And I have to stay fueled in order to do that. And this is how I'm staying fueled. I'm keeping good foods in the refrigerator, in the freezer. So my house is stocked with nutritious foods instead of the junky foods. And I'm making sure that I have something cooked that I can just reheat for lunches or for dinner a couple of nights a week. Those have saved me so much time, and I hope that they will help you as well. All right. God bless. You guys have a great day. And if you are looking for some kind of way that you need some help in your house, organizing your pantry, fixing your kitchen, finding your style in your closet, and just making your life a little bit more simple, reach out. I am here for you. I want to help you get your life simplified, organized, designed, and styled. I want to help you transform your life into a home and a life and a wardrobe that feels less stressed. It feels like you have less decisions to make in every room. I don't want you to have to walk in and think through a process. I want it to just be so easy that you no longer have to think about it. When I'm getting ready in the morning, I stand in one place. I can reach all of my makeup, my everything that I need in front of the mirror is all right there. I don't even have to go under the sink. I have my nighttime stuff under the sink, but when I'm getting ready in the morning, it's all right there, standing in one place. I can reach everything right there. When I'm getting dressed, I'm standing in one spot to get dressed. My kids do too, even in the new house. It can be that easy for you too. Let me help. Don't forget to call. Don't forget to reach out. If you are feeling stuck or frustrated, if it is not that easy for you, let me help you. I'll help you if you've already done all the decluttering and organizing, but it still hasn't created a simple enough flow. Let me help you. Reach out. Let's figure out where the tricks are. What could be improved to make it a more streamlined flow and to save you time, energy, money, and brain power. Okay? Call me. I'm here, 980-389-0399, or you can book your session at jmorganizingspaces.com. You guys have a great day. I will talk to you soon. Bye.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Simplified and Fabulous Mom Life podcast. We would love to hear from you. Our podcast hotline for US is 980-389-0399. You can share your tips and tricks, topic suggestions, ask questions, and let me know if we should answer any of these on the air. For other ways to connect, you can reach us at jmorganizingspaces.com.
Thanks for listening to this episode. Did I say it right?